first night, full moon, and extra innings. A Prado bomb, a dramatic win. Last night, tied in the ninth. Yelich a hero. And Mom is happy. 9 over. Stay hot. Marlins and Phillies, Game 3 tonight. On another warm evening in Philadelphia, the Marlins in town. This is a 4-game series, and you just saw the dramatics in the first 2. This would be Game 3, and a curious night for Christmas in July. Now that is scary. That is the Mouse King from the Nutcracker, and even the fanatic doesn't know what to make of this guy. A ceremonial first pitch and a quick exit by the fanatic. Hi everybody, Rich Waltz, along with Preston Wilson, who had a visit from the fanatic last night. Martin Prado in Game 1. Last night was all Christian Yelich. Not only Yelly on the field, but Mom approving up in the stands.
You know, it's always great when you perform well, but when your mom's in the stands, it's extra special. I remember my playing days when my mom would come to the game, you did something. It was just special, and this swing was special. Christian Yelich, when he gets a hold of him, he drives the ball a long way, and then another clutch hit late in the game there to score Echeverria. And like we said, Mom approves.
Multitasking too, probably on the phone at home saying, hey, Christian's up, big spot, and she probably called the play-by-play as well. Let's talk pitching in this one. The Marlins in the second half are looking for better stuff out of starters other than Jose Fernandez and Adam Conley. And this is the top guy on that list looking for improvement, Wei-Yin Chen.
I think Wei-Yin Chen is going to be a big part of the second half for the Marlins. What he has to do is go deeper into games. We've seen the stuff. We've seen the velocity. Sometimes he hits 94, but he's got to be able to put away batters and stay on the mound to give that bullpen a break.
Now, the pitcher that's going for the Phillies is a guy whose name has been out in rumors in terms of teams looking for starting pitching. In fact, even the Marlins are on that list. It's the third time the Marlins have faced Hellickson. He has a dynamite changeup.
Well, he has a great changeup, but he's one of those guys that doesn't look imposing, about 6'1", 190. But, man, he competes, and he has that Bugs Bunny changeup all baseball players fear.
Marlins will try to stay hot here in Philly. Wei-Yin Chen, Jeremy Hellickson, Marlins and Phillies. And the first pitch is coming up. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. By Southwest, transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Lexus of Pembroke Pines, price, service, selections. You're gonna love us. Oh, this lucky youngster got to come to the plate and present the lineups and be used to clean off the plate. Very nice. Well, the hair works, doesn't it?
It's got a little swish broom brush kind of look to it. Yeah.
For the Marlins tonight, their lineup as penned by Don Mattingly, brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
JT Real Mutos in the leadoff spot. Martin Prado second. Christian Yelich is third. John Carlos in the cleanup spot. Marcell Ozuna's fifth. Dietrich sixth. Chris Johnson gets a start at first base, batting seventh. Miguel Rojas is at short, batting eighth, and Wei Yin Chen is in the 9-hole.
And this is 29-year-old Jeremy Hellickson, the Des Moines, Iowa native, a former Rookie of the Year back in 2011 with the Rays of Tampa Bay. Also won a Gold Glove there, and he spent last year in Arizona, where his ERA was in the mid-4s, and he has brought it back down close to 4, 6 and 7. The long ball has plagued him. He's given up 18. In fact, both these starters have been hurt by the long ball. Wei Yin Chen's given up 19. And Hellickson 18.
Well, but Hellickson's done a good job of staying on the mound. Since April 27th, he's gone at least 5 innings in all of his starts.
And there is value in that. Auto Nation brings you the scatter report. What we got with him?
Well, don't guess wrong. And you can with this guy because he throws anything at any time. The percentages of his pitches are almost even. Rookie Rage. Rookie of the Year, like you mentioned, in 2011, had that 13-10 record with a sub-3 ERA, and he has a dog named Jeter. How about that? His childhood dog was named Jeter.
I'll bet you there's a lot of players that have had dogs named after their favorite players. I know there was a lot of guys up in Seattle that had Griffey as their pet.
Had a lot of dogs named Mookie.
Mookie, yes. That's right. Good call. Southwest Airlines brings you the Phillies defense. Tyler Goodell, Peter Borges, and Jimmy Paredes out in right field. Michael Franco, Tommy Joseph, who's had a 2-homer series so far. Cesar Hernandez, Freddie Galvis up the middle. And Chooch getting his first start of this series. Carlos Ruiz behind home plate. Don Mattingly meeting the media today. Everyone asking him, aren't you just thrilled where your team is? You're 51-42. You've won 7 of 8. You're 10-4 in July. You're 4-1 on the road trip. And Mattingly, stone-faced, said, yeah, well, we got a long way to go, and we still have to win this series. And all Mattingly would talk about was tonight. And tonight starts with Hellickson and Real Muto. First pitch fastball, a strike. It's 0-1.
That comment by Mattingly tells you one thing. When you're a team that nobody expects to win and you have this record, everybody's go, oh, this is great. But when Don Mattingly sees something more, he sees a next level coming for this team. So where they are right now is good, but he's not excited about it because he knows where they can go.
And he said, look, things can flip in this game very quickly. And if you take your eye off your target, it'll happen. See the Marlins 4.5 back of Washington. They picked up that game last night. Real Muto pulls it wide of third. The Mets were losers today. The Cubs beat them by a score of 6-2. And so the Fish have a chance to distance themselves from the Mets a bit with a win tonight. Keep the pressure on the Washington Nationals. The Nationals and the Dodgers are just underway in D.C. And of course, the Mets will actually be in Miami tonight with an off day tomorrow, as the Marlins and the Mets open up a 3-game weekend series on Friday night at Marlins Park. 1-2 to Real Muto. And there is that righty on righty changeup, anytime, any place.
And he sells it so well. There's no difference in his motion than when he throws his fastball. The arm slot is the same. And that's what really makes it tough. Some guys, when they throw a changeup, the arm angle will change just a little bit because of the action they're trying to get on the pitch. His throwing motion is the exact same as when he throws his fastball.
Phillies got great starting pitching last night. Vince Velasquez was terrific, a run in 7 innings. Jose Urena for the Marlins was outstanding. He pitched to 2 outs into the 6th. He gave up just a run. And so it's Hellickson and Chen here tonight. And there's Urena. He was down in the zone, and those were his marching orders. When he's down in the zone, he's really, really good. And that was the result last night. Prado lifts that one to right. Paredes and Borges. And it's Borges who makes the catch. And Hellickson, who works quickly, has a couple outs, brings up Christian Yelich. On this road trip for the Marlins, and they've gone 4-1, having won 2 here and then 2 of 3 in St. Louis. There seems to be a different hero every night or every game. Certainly Martin Prado with the extra inning home run on Monday night, and then Yelich last night, the tape measure homer in the 4th and the RBI single in the 10th. Laz Diaz calling balls and strikes. Adam Hamari, Dan Bellino, and Tom Hallion on the bases. And as he usually does, Yelich opens the night top 10 in hitting and in on-base percentage. A .318 average has him 5th, actually tied for 4th with Carlos Gonzalez. And his on-base at .396 has him all alone in 5th place. Another changeup and another strikeout. And Hellickson sharp in the 1st inning. Wei-Yin Chen gets the ball as the Marlins and the Phillies are underway. Phillies come up. Pete McCann, and you can see his lineup card right behind him, and we present it in this fashion, brought to you by UHealth Sports Medicine.
Leading off with Peter Borjos, Tyler Goodell is 2nd, Michael Franco is 3rd, Tommy Joseph with the big power surge is batting 4th, Carlos Ruiz is 5th, Jimmy Paredes is batting 6th, Freddie Galvis 7th, Cesar Hernandez 8th, and Jeremy Hellickson is toeing the rubber, but he's in a 9th slot offensively, Rich.
And there is Wei-Yin Chen, start number 19. He's had some nice moments, but consistency has been elusive for him. His last 7 starts, an ERA of 6 and 11 home runs given up. So a fresh start into the 2nd half. Chen trying to get it together. He gets Borges, Goodell, and Franco. And Borges climbs in. Fastball for a strike. Odubel Herrera has been in the leadoff spot first 2 nights, but it's Borges with the lefty on the mound who gets the call. Goodell, another righty bat to follow.
Isn't it always interesting in baseball that the left-handed hitters get the day off against the left-handed pitchers, but the right-handed hitters don't? Like, you don't see a whole lot of righties that just get that day off because the right-hander's pitching.
That one fouled back and out of play. If you were a hitter and you had looked at tape of the games that you've called for Wei-Yin Chen, what have been his issues? When is he good and when is he not good?
It's really simple when I look at Chen. He's a strike thrower.
Into center field, the base hit for Borges.
He's a strike thrower, and sometimes it helps him get ahead of hitters, but it also gets in trouble at the end of the at-bats. When I watch Wei-Yin Chen, I feel like the quality of strikes when he gets to 2 strikes has to get better because he's getting a little bit too much at the plate. So he's got to find a better way to stick that ball in the dirt or move it off the plate and not be so much in the middle of the zone when he gets 2 strikes. He does a great job getting ahead of hitters and throwing strikes. It's just that finishing touch of putting the batter away that's been a little bit inconsistent for him this year.
Tyler Goodell now with Franco on deck. Borges 5 stolen bases. He stole one last night. And Chen misses in. Goodell getting a start for a Phillies team that comes in at 43-52. Phillies have had an up and down season. A surprising start in April. Late May and June somewhat of a swoon, and then all of a sudden late June they got it together until the Marlins arrived, and Miami has taken 2 tight extra inning games. Right field, Stanton back at the wall. Stanton leaps, and it's gone. Tyler Goodell goes deep to right. And the long ball bites Wei-Yin Chen again. Just the 4th homer of the season for Goodell. Now the Marlins video room looking to see if possibly a fan reached over to make that catch. You see Tim Wallach on the phone right now. Here's our first look. Well, I don't know. Looked like a pretty clean catch.
Yeah, it looked like he stayed back in his seat. I mean, he's standing up, but he's not hanging over the railing.
Now, Don Mattingly is out. I don't know if he's actually going to challenge, but he wants the umpires to get together and see if they had a consensus.
Right.
The umpires can initiate a look. Here's an angled look.
That may be a little bit
boy, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the top of that cyclone fence. It looks like the ball is above the top of that fence.
Yeah, it's above it.
And the fan is not really reaching that far out into the field of play. But the umpires have got the headsets on. And this is, you know, very much like a replay on a bang-bang play at first. The initial call counts. So you have to be absolutely sure, and it is a home run. That is a crew chief review, so it's not a Marlins challenge. The Marlins, of course, lost their challenge last night on a play that everybody thought was going to go their way, and Don Mattingly talked about that before the game and said, you know, we've looked at the film. We thought it was not the transfer rule. Pete McCannon, I think, is asking, hey, was that a challenge? Did they lose it? Was it a crew chief review? The result, though, doesn't change for Chen, and that is 20 home runs allowed, his 12th homer allowed in his last 7+ starts. And here is Franco, who's had a rough series offensively, but a pretty nice season. And he pokes that one into the seats. Franco 14 doubles, 18 homers, but 7 strikeouts in the series. And he fouls it back. Breaking ball. Prado got to hurry, and there's no way he'll get him. That's a base hit for Maikel Franco. Leaning out on that 2-strike pitch.
Yeah, you get that running start because you're reaching for the ball. Your momentum is already going towards the field. Makes it easy to get out of the box. See that? Nice and clean. It's almost like a running start for a hitter. And Prado was about as good as it gets on that bare hand play of scooping it up. So when he doesn't make one, you know it's tough.
Now, a guy that's left the yard twice in this series, and that is Tommy Joseph. Adding to his home run totals, now at 13, and his slugging percentage, which is mid-500s. And I think if you're looking for reasons why the Phillies are ahead of the curve in terms of rebuilding in comparison to the Atlanta Braves, this is one guy that really has helped accelerate it. We talked about it last night. He was taken off the 40-man roster in the offseason. He was available to some teams if they wanted to go after him. But the big question mark was, how would he respond after losing a couple of seasons to concussions? And could he find another position on the field?
Well, I think the Phillies are glad that they found a home for him over there at first base. Big, strong kid's got good, quick hands, can handle the fastball. He's leading the majors in home runs per at bat.
Fouls that back. We check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Yeah, Rich, you mentioned Tommy Joseph being a catcher. He was a catcher in AAA, and then after suffering his 5th concussion when he was struck by a foul tip, doctors gave him a choice. They said, look, your baseball career is either going to come to an end or you need to change positions because you cannot suffer another concussion. That's exactly what he did. He had some vision therapy because of those concussions, and now, guys, he's making the most of his opportunity at first base with the Phillies.
Sends that one to center field. OZUNA tracking it. He's got it. Franco tags, but then holds. And Chen finally has an out here in the first inning. Miami's defense tonight. One notable change. Southwest Airlines presents it to you. Got the usuals. Yelich, OZUNA, and Stanton in the outfield. Prado and Johnson on the corners. Miguel Rojas at short. That's the change. Derek Dietrich at second and JT Realmuto behind the plate. Don Mattingly today talked about what the Marlins are up against tomorrow night and Friday night. The Marlins play a night game here in Philly and then a night game Friday in Miami as Ruiz stands in. And of course the next off day for the Marlins is a long ways away. And so Mattingly planning to rest a regular tonight in Echeverria, maybe a couple more tomorrow night, and then maybe 1 or 2 more on Friday night in the first game against the Mets. Just because the Marlins will get into Miami around 2:30 or 3 o'clock on Friday morning. So Etch gets the night off tonight. That means, Preston, you might see Ichiro in the lineup tomorrow night. You might see him in the lineup on Friday night. Into left. Yeah, that's a hit for Ruiz. That one scooted under the glove of Prado. And the veteran catcher has the 4th hit of the inning. That's not a ball that he usually misses. It was hit hard, but we are so used to seeing Prado make that play. Now Paredes. Mickey Morandini, member of that World Series team from the early 90s. First base coach for the Phils. Chen bounces that one in there. Franco at second. Ruiz the runner at first. And Wei-Yin Chen already has thrown 19 pitches. He has 1 out. 3 singles and a 2-run homer. Popped up infield. Infield fly is called, and Rojas makes the catch. And so Freddie Galvis comes up now.
Chen got that ball in, tied up Paredes. He needs to get some quick outs here. Slow that pitch count down a little bit.
And a couple of the hits in this inning have broken some slumps. Goodell was 0 for 17 until he homered. Franco 0 for 13 before his hit. And now here's Galvis. Strike one. And the ball gets away from Chen. Nobody advancing. Sometimes it seems like the easiest of things. And Realmuto fortunate that Chen was able to collect it behind the mound. That one popped out into shallow center. Dietrich is out. OZUNA is in, and OZUNA calls him off and makes the catch. So the Goodell 2-run homer, the extent of it, and it's 2-0. With a home run to right, and the Phillies have a 2-0 lead. Wei-Yin Chen and Juan Nieves. Chen's interpreter between them. Giancarlo Stanton now against Jeremy Hellickson. Goes after the first pitch and bounces it to third. Franco across the diamond. And Hellickson is getting early contact or a strikeout. That's kind of his script right now. Marcell Ozuna coming up. 10 pitches, 4 outs. 2 strikeouts. And here is Ozuna. Couple hits in the series. Ozuna 1 for 3 last night. There weren't a lot of hits on either side. Miami had 7, the Phillies had 5. A couple solo homers last night, Yelich and Joseph.
I want to see Ozuna get back to that up the middle, right center approach that he had working so well. Get him back going again. Does a lot of damage in the middle of the field. 44 hits to center field.
That's where he got his RBI single in the All-Star game at San Diego. It's a devastating changeup. Count now 2-2. It makes 91 look a lot faster than it should. Wow. Another strikeout of a right-handed batter with the changeup. He got Real Muto on that same pitch in the first.
Yeah, and guys like this, you especially have to keep your approach towards the center of the field, or to a little bit, maybe a little bit towards the off field, because of that changeup. And you look to hit the fastball, but if you're thinking pull, you're never going to hit that changeup.
Now Dietrich, and he takes out. Derek Dietrich in this series is 0 for 8. 4 of his 8 outs he's hit right on the button. Still with the healthy on base at 375 and a 285 average. Hellickson with that fastball for a strike. Third time the Marlins have seen Hellickson this year.
And a guy, it's imperative to hit his fastball because his changeup is so good. So when he makes a mistake with the fastball over the plate, you got to hit it.
There was the fastball. Hellickson long look into Las Diaz. And here's why. It caught the plate, and it looked like, and it shows right there on Fox Tracks, right at the letters. Dietrich gets his hands through, and the count's 2-2. D. Gordon, in his first action yesterday in a doubleheader, left the game with a cramp. It was hot and humid in New Orleans, second game of a doubleheader. And the Marlins foresee no problems with him. And man, the changeup just dots the inside corner. Jeremy Hellickson is dealing tonight. He has retired all 6 he's faced, and he's punched out 4. on a Wednesday night showdown. La Lechonera presents the Marlins and the Phillies from Citizens Bank Park. There are some clouds above, but no rain today. Temperature's a little bit lower. It's supposed to heat up again tomorrow. You see the Christmas in July promotion. Rojas, long throw, and safe at first. Bang, bang, and certainly will be reviewed. But Miguel Rojas trying to get a fast man in Cesar Hernandez. And he had a long throw to make. Back of the glove, looks like he's safe.
Well, we've seen Hernandez run very well, get down the line. That looks like he just beats that out.
That's the 5th hit already that Chen has given up. And of course, we watched it in slow motion a few times. This is full speed. Adam Hamari, the first base umpire, stuck the call. Tim Hellickson is bunting. Popped up. Real Muto ran into the hitter, picks it up, fires to first in time to get the out. And Real Muto right now in discussion with Laz Diaz. Don Mattingly is out. And Real Muto, the question is if he doesn't run into the hitter in Hellickson, can he A, catch it and double a runner off first, or get to second and get that lead out?
Yeah, that's just one of those things that happens. The runner's trying to get out of the box, go to first. The catcher pops up, sees it quickly.
And watching that video, Hellickson was still in the box.
Right.
If he's up the line and has left the box, then
he has to be going to first
yes.
base. He
Yes.
can't just be trying to stall for time. He's got to be running towards first base.
Then you've got some obstruction going on.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with interference or obstruction is not a reviewable play. Johnson calls for it, and Chen gets Borges. So there are 2 outs. If you place your deposit on a 2017 season ticket, we guarantee you access for the 2017 All-Star Game in Miami. Don't miss your chance to secure seats for a once-in-a-generation event and all of the All-Star Week activities in and around Marlins Park and Miami. Deposits start at just $250. 1-877-MARLINS. You go to marlins.com/season tickets. Now the job for Chen is to keep it at 2-0. To do that, he'll have to get Goodell, who homered to right. And that's a strike. Now that's the Comcast Tower camera. That's a live shot of a spider who has spun a web. Remember, we had that shot during the weather on Monday night. Liner into right field, and Goodell hurts Chen again. Well, his brother is in the bullpen for the Mets, Eric Goodell. This is Tyler Goodell.
This is just a ball right in the middle of the plate. You can't get more middle than that. And that's what we talked about with Chen. The quality of the strikes has to improve. Goodell came into this game hitting .209, but it just goes to show you any big league hitter, no matter what you're hitting, is going to handle that pitch right in the middle of the plate.
6 hits already for the Phillies, and Tyler Goodell against the Marlins has been outstanding this year. Michael Franco now. It's amazing that you've got two brothers in the same division, and you would think, and you're a great example of having a father who played in the majors, that maybe their dad was an athlete or a great player. His dad is a biotech industry pioneer who developed synthesized insulin.
Wow.
And he's got two kids in the big leagues. Runner goes, pitches down low. They have no chance for Real Muto. So a pair of Goodells and a pair of d'Arnaud's, one in Atlanta and one with the Mets. Any other brothers in the division? I don't think so. Yeah, that's right. If the Marlins called up Austin Nola, my producer John Solser points out. Dietrich on to first in time, but another run for the Phils. Three 3-0 Phillies on top. Preston Wilson loves Chicky and Pete's crab fries, and he loves to talk hitting. Professor Wilson, what's the difference between the fastball and the changeup delivery of Jeremy Hellickson?
Well, we're going to show you why guys have such a hard time picking up Hellickson's changeup. Nothing changes. This is actually two pitches overlapping. One's a fastball, one's a changeup, so your eyes aren't messing with you. That little blur is actually the other motion. They're absolutely synchronized. The arm speed is the same, the finish is the same, and he does it by just changing the grip, and that's what takes the velocity off the ball, and that's why it's so hard to pick it up as a hitter, because you don't see any difference.
There's the fastball at 91 for a strike. That's the arsenal and the percentage of pitches that he uses. 33% on the changeup, and he throws it to righties and lefties. And the breaking ball just 10% of the time.
I really think that young pitchers should develop a changeup before they develop a curveball. I think the curveball was in vogue and that slider became a big pitch. But I think if you're talking about wear and tear on the arm, the changeup is so much less stress.
Johnson goes after that changeup, got a piece.
And
he's behind in the count now, 1-2.
You still get the change in velocity. You also get the movement, the change in planes when the baseball's coming to the plate. So you get those benefits with a good changeup.
It's a good take by Johnson. Changeup just died there.
A guy like Greg Maddux, he learned it. And I can honestly say he's a Hall of Famer, but he had one of the worst breaking balls in baseball. It was a terrible slider, but he was so good and so consistent with his motion and his fastball and his changeup, he didn't need it.
81, and Johnson was out in front of it. And it's 2-2. Chris got a start last night. He was 1 for 3 with a walk. Lines that into right field, and he got the fastball. In fact, I think that's the top end fastball for Hellickson on the night, 92 miles an hour.
Well, being able to take that changeup in the middle of that at bat is what bought him that fastball. You know, you take that changeup, Hellickson doesn't want to walk, he doesn't want to get behind you, so he comes with the fastball, and Chris Johnson does a great job of staying on it, driving it to right.
Now Miguel Rojas getting the start at short tonight. Danny Echeverria a night off. And you might see Rojas in there again in the next 3 or 4 games. As Don Mattingly indicated, there'll be a few other regulars that get a night off here over the next 2-3 nights. Not all of them, but just a handful. Bounce to third, Franco, and the turn in the dirt and picked by Joseph. Well, the Phillies supporting Hellickson with a nice 5-4-3 double play.
Oh, nice turn, good feed, good turn by Hernandez. Even though the runner was right on top of him, he got it up quickly. It's actually a good pick by Joseph as well over there.
A good slide by Johnson too in this day and age of, you know, runners not knowing where to go and how to go in there. He got a pretty good piece of Hernandez and still looked legal. Hernandez had one of the turns of the year last night where he was back to first, kind of falling over.
Yeah, it almost looked like one of those no-look passes in basketball that he kind of, like he threw it over the side of his shoulder.
That's right. That's a good call. Well, he had Chen up there. Chen still looking for his first big league hit. He's behind the count 0-2. Now, this is the type of guy that a guy like Chen could get a hit off of. You know, he tops out about 91.
I so want to believe this is going to happen tonight. I really do, Rich.
Yeah, well,
this has got to end.
Would you believe it's Christmas in July?
Hey,
that's the promotion.
What better night for it then?
That's true. See, now it's against a hitter like this that Hellickson will throw that breaking ball.
Well, this is the type of hitter that he can get a feel for it. He can find out what it's coming out like because he doesn't feel like he's in the danger of Chen hitting the ball for an extra base hit. So if he falls behind him or, you know, misses a pitch here and there with it, experimenting, that's who you do it against.
It's a great point. So it's like a test flight.
Yeah.
It's his number 3 pitch. So if he's going to get a feel, now's a good time. I don't know that he'll throw a changeup to him, though. That can speed up a pitcher's bat. Stuck with a fastball, and he struck him out. Marlins get their first hit, but that's erased on a double play. See what I mean? Apparently it is Christmas in July. T-Mobile brings you greater coverage of baseball. What you got? 2 more homers from King Alberts. Johnny Peralta back to the DL with another thumb injury. And Clayton Kershaw to the disabled list. And the word surgery was actually raised as a possibility in talking about Kershaw. Obviously, that would be crushing news to the Doyers. And that is T-Mobile, greater coverage of baseball. That is I believe, a seal.
I hope so.
Sid, the inflatable seal. Available for parties and bar mitzvahs. Fish fans hoping that Wei and Chen can get it together and the Marlins can figure out Jeremy Hellickson. If you are just arriving to the ball game, the Phillies and their left fielder Tyler Goodell have put 3 runs up against Wei and Chen. 6 hits for the Phils. Tommy Joseph, Carlos Ruiz, Jimmy Paredes lead it off here in the bottom of the 3rd. A couple of hops. Rojas, that strong arm, on over to first. Out number 1, and on Christmas in July, even we have to be conscious of our legal responsibilities. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Carlos Ruiz singled back in the 1st, and a strike. There was a trade today in baseball. Not a major one, but significant if you're a Cubs fan. Cubs got left-handed reliever Mike Montgomery from Seattle for minor league prospects. One of those, Dan Vogelbach, who was a high draft pick of the Cubs and is having a good year in AAA. By Dietrich. Ruiz with 2 hits. Sweep packs. Now, if you go 3 and 6, it gets you into a sweep plan at Marlins Park. Now, a 6-game plan with renewal gets you into the 2017 All-Star Game tickets and all the All-Star Game events. Call 1-877-MARLINS. Go to marlins.com/suites. Hope you're making plans this weekend. Marlins and Mets. Should be a lot of fun the way the Marlins are playing. The Mets and the Fish have been dueling for that 2nd spot and that wild card spot in the East and in the wild card. Paredes takes a strike. Mets lost today 6-2. And so the Marlins lead over the Mets temporarily is in a game and a half. And it puts them at 6 back of Washington. Marlins are 4.5 back. 0-2. There was no key stealing by any of the Marlins for the Fanatics vehicle today, because the Fanatic was involved in the first pitch and a lot of ceremonies with Christmas in July. And a swing and a miss there. Paredes goes down. Nice block by Real Muto. Jose, and see, those two still have beef. Now he's going to use the Marlins fan as a shield. That's a smart Fanatic. If you haven't seen, if you weren't with us last night, MLB.com, if you click on the video section, you'll see the Fanatic in our booth presenting Preston Wilson with his birthday cupcakes, sneezing on the cupcakes, eating a cupcake. He just sound kid. And then carrying on from last night, including kissing Preston Wilson. So if you haven't seen the video, it's on MLB.com.
You had to bring that back. Thanks, guys, for putting that back up there. Thanks. See, I had my head down. I was not looking. I was not ready for that moment.
Into left, Galvis with a hit. I tell you what, Wei-Yin Chen is not fooling the Phillies tonight. 2 more hits this inning, multiple hits in every inning, and 8 total already.
It's a situation where Wei-Yin Chen is going to have to either locate better, or he's going to have to try to find a way to throw his breaking ball even when he's behind an account for strikes.
Hernandez had an infield hit in the second. Runners first and second and 2 down. Oh, and 1. Ball and a strike. Chen's strikeout of Paredes is his only strikeout of the night. Hasn't walked anybody. Good spot for that breaking ball.
You know, I think that's another weapon for Chen as well, is to be able to pitch inside. See that second fastball, second pitch of the at bat, way inside, stands up the hitter a little bit.
Rojas to Dietrich in time to get the out. Chen out of the inning, and a 3-0 Phillies lead. Is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Lefty Steve Carlton in the sunset. That's a sweet look. 3-0 Phillies on top. Jessica Blaylock, where are you?
Hey, Rich, I'm hanging out by the Marlins dugout. A little bit of a rough start to this game tonight for the Fish, but overall, they have been fantastic on this road trip. They've started out the second half of the season with a record of 4-1. Runs pretty similar between the Marlins and their opponents, but take a look at that batting average. The Marlins are hitting .239 compared to holding opponents to an average of 182, and that ERA also a little bit better than their opponents. Guys, another thing that has marked this road trip, they have made a couple of really nice comeback wins. They trail 3-0 in this one, but hopefully we can see another comeback here tonight.
All right, Jessica, JT Real Muto up, second time through. We'll see what adjustments the Marlins make against Jeremy Hellickson. Real Muto, Martin Prado, and Christian Yelich. in both of the things that Jessica pointed out. The wins without a lot of hits, and then the comebacks. Real Muto with good speed. He's got himself a hit. And so Real Muto with an infield single.
Well, Maikel Franco finds himself on the other side of that play. He got a base hit, very similar fashion. And now JT Real Muto hits one his way, and he has trouble picking it up. Real Muto picks up a knock.
Here comes Prado. For the Marlins to accomplish what they've done on the trip with the numbers that you saw, their bullpen has been just incredible. In this series alone, the Marlins penned 9 innings, 1 hit, no runs. And you go back to Sunday's win in St. Louis, and it's a run of 15 2/3 innings without a run allowed. And if you take an inventory of the pen tonight, A.J. Ramos is probably off limits. He's worked in 3 straight games. David Phelps worked a pretty good chunk last night. He might be off limits. Last night, Fernando Rodney and Mr. Bearclaw were guys that Don Mattingly was able to stay away from and get an off night for. Preston, this is a panel that you approved of on Marlins Live.
Yeah, just to show how good these guys have been over the last 10 games. 1 ERA, that's second in Major League Baseball, and they're leading the Major League Baseball in strikeouts to walk ratio and whip, which is walks and hits per innings pitched.
Yes, it is. Like it. Prado fly to center. Hellickson's changeup and fastball combination have been a puzzle so far. Into the bat and up the middle. Galvis drops it off, and it's caught there by Hernandez just in time to get Real Muto. That was an awkward exchange and kind of a gray area between the 2 middle infielders.
Galvis gets a little bobble there, and he doesn't do it on purpose. He actually loses the ball. It comes out, but luckily it went right to the second baseman in an area where he could pick it up.
As a result, Prado is at first, and here is Yelich. Yelich, a swinging strikeout. Not a big lead by Prado. And Yelich takes out. In-game box score. Chris Johnson and JT Real Muto both with singles. Yelich had the long home run, and then that RBI single in the 10th that proved to be the winning run. That was last night. He has faced Hellickson before. He's hit him. He's 5 for 12 against him. And in this ballpark, it seems like it's Christmas every month for Christian Yelich. It's his 22nd game here. Yelich pulls one into right field. That's a hit. Prado steaming around second, holds there. And the Marlins put some runners on for a Giancarlo Stanton at bat. There are Marlins that have had success against this right-hander. We just told you about Yelich. Prado's numbers aren't bad. OZUNA as well, but not this guy. Giancarlo Stanton is now 1 for 11 with 5 strikeouts. He bounced to third in the 2nd. 1-0. Stan has not homered on this road trip. He had that home run swing there. He had 5 homers in his last 5 games going into the All-Star break. He had some significant hits, 3 doubles, in fact, in St. Louis. One and two.
There's that nasty changeup again. You see that downward tilt to it. Same arm slot.
We showed that the release point and the arm speed being identical on both fastball and changeup. As a hitter here, 2 strikes. Are you protecting against fastball, looking change? What's your mindset?
As a hitter right here, especially a right-handed hitter, I'm looking to drive the ball to right center. I want to stay out there and keep my eyes out there. That way, I'm focusing on letting the ball get a little bit closer to me. If I get jammed, I get jammed. But staying with that right center approach is going to, the only thing that's going to keep him in play for that changeup possibly.
Two. Jammed him, and he popped it up on the infield. Infield fly. Hernandez chases Joseph off. Now back in Miami, the Marlins saw Hellickson. Marcell OZUNA saw him. And left the yard. Those the matchup numbers. OZUNA struck out back in the 2nd. Chris Johnson's single to right is the best ball that the Marlins have hit tonight. OZUNA takes. Not as humid and sticky tonight as Monday night or last night. And Hellickson still using the rosin bag at the back of the mound. Prado is at 2nd. Yelich big lead at 1st. And Hellickson trying to pick at the corner. Goes 2-0. That's a 2-0 changeup and a nice take by OZUNA. Remember that conversation that OZUNA and Bonds had after the strikeout his first time up. He lingered at the top step in conversation with Bonds for a good 15-20 seconds. And he got the changeup at 2-0 and 3-0.
It's still a great take, though. He recognized it early enough. I don't care if that ball's right down the middle, 3-0. If it's not what you're looking for, you just hope you can lay off of it.
What do you look for here?
I'm looking for a fastball right here. He's throwing 3 changeups in a row. Not many pitchers will quadruple changeup.
It was a fastball. It's in the air in the corner and caught there by Paredes. In foul territory, and he holds it. And Jeremy Hellickson still a mystery. Well, tomorrow night, the Marlins and the Phils finish this 4-gamer. Tom Kohler, Jared Eichhoff. That's your matchup in a Game 4 in Philly. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson, and your South Florida Honda dealers. Get you ready at 6:30. Spider Cam. Spider Cam. This is amazing. This is the top of the Comcast building. We had this shot, this camera, for that vicious storm that came through here on Monday. This spider appeared on the camera about a half an hour ago. And I'll tell you what, you better have a sturdy web to survive the winds at the top of that building, because that's the highest building in the city. That is where that spider has chosen to make his home, way up there. And so far, he has hung in there, Preston.
You know what, Rich? All of us aspire to live in a penthouse one day.
Yes, well, he's got it. And he's got a great view. The art museum, look at that beautiful look right into the art museum. Hellickson lines it down the right field line. We told you earlier that Hellickson is a guy that, if you look on various websites, not that website, not Spider Cam, but if you look at websites that deal with Major League trade rumors, Hellickson's name is on there. Starting pitching is coveted. One of the possible suitors rumored is the Marlins, and it just occurred to me that at this point, if the Marlins could trade for him right now, they could take him out of the game.
Yes, they could.
Breaking ball swung on and missed by Hellickson. After the at-bat, after they struck him out. There's your Phillies box score, and Tyler Goodell has driven in all 3 runs with a 2-run homer and an RBI single. Wei and Chen trying to piece it back together. Here is Borges. I don't know that our friend the Spider, though, will get as much local love and pub as, you know, sometimes an eagle will make her nest up there, or some bird, and people will log in just to see how the cute little bird's doing with the babies.
Yeah, you don't hear too many people say cute little spider, Rich.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't see that progression.
No. You know, the spider's probably a great spider.
Yeah. I'm sure you're right. I'm just amazed that the web has stuck. That's reinforced spider web up there. That's a strike. And Chen has struck out 2. Speak for yourself. Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock, weeknights at 6 on FS1. Colin Cowherd, Jason Whitlock. Get your weeknights going at 6 o'clock. Further the discussion. Goodell takes a breaking ball. It counts 0-1. So a 2-run homer, RBI single. Ow, Laz Diaz took one in a not so fun place. Diaz waves off his other umpires who were jogging in to see if he was okay. Don't try this at home, kids.
Oh, right off the inner thigh. No protection there.
Back to Chen. Gathers it, throws it, and gets it. And that is his first 1-2-3 inning. And that's a gorgeous sunset in Philly. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida. It's brought to you by Dodge. Visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. By Coral Springs Auto Mall across from the Coral Square Mall. We make it easy. And by Subaru of Pembroke Pines. Price, service, selection. You're going to love us. Philadelphia. Phillies and Marlins. Cheesesteak heaven. And plenty of food options in this ballpark. Marlins go to work now on Jeremy Hellickson, who is really on tonight. He got Dietrich looking at one of those changeups for strike 3 in the second. 5 strikeouts. 3 hits, all singles. Only one of them really hit hard.
He's done a great job changing speeds. He's done a great job mixing up locations.
Two and one. We told you earlier that the Mets lost to the Cubs 6-2. The Nationals lead the Dodgers 2-1, bottom 4. Dietrich, boy, just a little early on that. And it's 2-2.
Starting to see Marlin hitters get a better look at that changeup, taking it more now. First time through it was rough. But now I think they've seen it tonight, so they're recognizing that changeup a little bit easier.
Count stays 2-2. Cardinals at home against the Padres tonight. Of course, the Cardinals are at 49 and 44, so they're right behind the Marlins and the Mets in that wild card chase. Dodgers are the #1 wild card team. Busted bat and new lumber for Dietrich. The Mets start play at 50 and 43. So the Cardinals at 48 and 44. Updated with the Pirates also in there at 48 and 45. The Mets lost today, so they're a game and a half back behind Miami. 2-2. Breaking ball and a beauty. He hadn't shown that to Dietrich. And it's a strike.
Good pitch. Haven't seen that breaking ball yet, and he pulls it out with 2 strikes, and it's just enough to freeze you.
And Hellickson's terrific night continues. Strikeout number 6. And now second time through, he's starting to show that pitch a little bit more. Johnson zipped a fastball into right field for a hit. A lot of getaway games today in baseball, so a lot of finals already. Half the schedule is done. And just one game late tonight on the West Coast. That's an American League game, Texas and the Angels. Pitches in. 3-1. It's a lot of trips in this ballpark from home plate to the mound for Carlos Ruiz. And a lot of great pitchers waiting for him on the dirt when he got out there. But all those guys are gone now. That great rotation. Johnson to left. That's a bolt, and it's deep, and it's gone. And the Marlins are on the board. Chris Johnson with a solo homer. Chris Johnson, before the ball game, gave us a scouting report on Hellickson. Talked about the changeup and the fastball. And he might want to give everybody else that report in the dugout because he's hit 2 balls very hard.
Johnson seems to be picking up the ball really well off of Hellickson. Great swing to right his first time up. And that's a line drive homer right there to left.
Rojas, big swing. And he pulls it foul. And so for Chris Johnson, home run number 4. Things can change in this ballpark in a hurry. And the Marlins are hoping that's the case. That one is barreled up into center field. And Miguel Rojas with a solid single to center. Second time through, some better swings for the Fish. Geico MLB moment. Don Mattingly's 22 putouts ties Hal Chase 1906 Major League record for putouts in a 9-inning game. Both were Yankee first basemen. 1987. All right, Yankee pitchers in 87. Who do you think was pitching that game to get that many ground balls?
Wow. Maybe Guidry? No, it's after Guidry, huh? It's after Guidry.
He probably would have more strikeouts.
Yeah. Let's see. 87.
Catfish Hunter had retired by then, I believe. Chen trying to bunt. It's not a good one. Out there, out there. And Wei-Yin Chen does not help his cause at all. Bunting into a double play. But the Marlins are on the board. Chris Johnson. This would be a solo shot, and it was a shot. It's 3-1. is the presenting sponsor of Miami Marlins baseball. Well, most of the offense for Miami tonight has been that guy. Chris Johnson's 2 for 2 as a solo homer. Now, just before that last bunt, you see his career numbers against Hellickson. Before that last bunt, we were talking about that Geico moment. Don Mattingly having 22 putouts, tying a major league record at first base. We were trying to figure out, all right, which Yankee pitcher would give up that many ground balls. And our baseball research department informed us it was a complete game by Tommy John. 1987, and I will bet you that as the pregame, say the Yankee pregame show that night, you think they mentioned that Tommy John had Tommy John surgery? I mean, I'm sure they said he had ligament replacement surgery.
Yes.
When did it become known as Tommy John surgery? Was it at that point? I mean, he had it already.
Well, it was an experimental thing at the time when he did it. So he was, you know, it became his surgery. It's kind of like ALS as Lou Gehrig's disease.
Maikel Franco, Tommy Joseph, Carlos Ruiz. Off-speed pitch, blasted in the gap. Yelich cuts it off. Franco around first, and he'll settle for a single. And the Phillies have a leadoff hit here in the 5th. And here comes Joseph. Joseph has flied out, bounced out. Ched has kept him in the ballpark, and it's something the Marlins were not able to do on Monday and on Tuesday. His home run yesterday up into the second deck in left field. Oh, and 1. Well, it sure looks like Joseph has taken to first base. And for the Phillies, he has provided some real pop. As you pointed out, his home runs per at bat, the best in baseball. Oh, and 2. Fastest start in terms of home runs for a Phillies rookie in history. 12 homers in 48 games. Darren Ruff did that in 51 games. .54 home runs per at bat, or at bats. Well, home runs per at bat. Should it be the other way? I'm reading this stat in the Phillies notes, right? It should be at bats per home run.
Yes. Yes.
12.54. Todd Frazier is second in baseball. Brandon Moss, Mark Trumbo, David Ortiz follow. That one foul back. And he's had a great run since the 4th of July. 5 of his homers have come since then. I mean, last 3 seasons, he really hasn't played much at all. Jessica had that story about the doctors talking to him about all the concussions. You really root for a guy like that who's had to overcome a lot of adversity, find a new spot on the field. Franco at first. Three-two. And that one is pulled wide of third. Phillies have swiped 40 bases this year. Their best base stealer not in the lineup. Odubel Herrera with a dozen. Franco is 0 for 1. Prado, and he holds it. Out number 1. And here comes Ruiz, who is 2 for 2. Friday night, it all starts. The homestand and the series. The series is the Mets, and that's a fireworks Friday. 7:10 start. You can celebrate Puerto Rican Heritage Night, powered by South Florida Ford. Pick up the special package at marlins.com/special events. Enjoy fireworks after the game. Ruiz takes a strike. One of the more popular players in this run by the Phillies, Carlos Ruiz. First got to the big leagues in 2006. One of Charlie Manuel's favorites, not a guy that had huge numbers in the minor leagues. Handled pitchers well. He and Jamie Moyer had a really good relationship. Roy Halladay loved him. Cole Hamels, Cliff Lee, all like throwing to him. Known as a guy that was especially a little bit later in his career, once he got established, as a guy that would come up with a big hit for you. Hit .353 in 2 World Series. Homered in both the 2008 World Series win over the Rays and the 2009 World Series loss to the Yankees. And had big league championship series that year as well, in 08 and in 09. The Panamanian, Carlos Ruiz. His contract up after this year. Phillies have an option with a buyout for next year. He is 37.
Good pitch.
Inside corner, Ruiz is down on strikes.
Those are the types of quality of strikes you need to throw when you got 2 strikes on a batter. Just off the edge or just on the corner. Might have even gotten a little bit on the inside, but still, it's a good pitch.
Well, for Wei-Yin Chen, a messy first inning. A 2-run homer by Goodell and 4 hits. An RBI single by Goodell in the second. 2 more hits. 2 more hits and no runs in the third, and then in the fourth, 1, 2, 3. He's got 2 outs with a runner at first here in the 5th inning, so he's progressively gotten better. But of course, Jeremy Hellickson on the other side's given up just a Chris Johnson home run. Ball and a strike. Realmuto keeps Franco at first.
Spoke with Brian Snyder before the game today, and he was talking about how happy they are with the progress that Realmuto is making behind the plate. He's blocking balls so much better now, getting that right technique down. Those guys are putting in a lot of hard work, and they're starting to show.
Paredes is a look at Schneider, who knows this division quite well. Spent a long time with a variety of teams. Managed in the Marlins organization.
I played with him in 2005 with the Nationals.
And Chen with a breaking ball, he gets Paredes. So Wei-Yin Chen has figured it out. But still trails right now 3-1. Along with Preston Wilson, Jessica Blaylock, Rich Waltz with you. 77 degrees, Citizens Bank Park. Marlins and Phillies. Wei-Yin Chen and Jeremy Hellickson matched up. Jam shot, Realmuto out to right. And Paredes runs it down. A pitch and an out here in the 6th. Hellickson cruising until Chris Johnson homered in the 5th. But that's it for Miami. Prado an 0 for 2. Extra innings win last night, 2-1. That was in 11 innings for a 3-2 win on Monday night after winning 2 of 3 in St. Louis. And it has Miami at 9 over. It's the first time they've been 9 over since 2011. And in 2011, the Marlins would get to 10 over at 30-20. But that's as good as it would get that year. Miami would end up finishing 72-90. They were actually Florida that year. And became the Miami Marlins in the new ballpark in 2012. Well, we saw Hellickson's second time through mix in the breaking ball.
Well, that's what most good pitchers do. They won't show you everything the first time around. They'll save something that surprise you with the second and third time through the lineup, Rich.
Paredes. And he's got it. So my question would be, if you're Hellickson, what's your surprise third time around?
Well, then it's just being more predictable because he saved the curveball for the second time. Then it's being able to throw strikes when you're behind an account, mixing up inside, outside. Because by then a guy's seen all that he has. Then it's about just executing.
He's pretty steady. You can see first, second, and third time through. Now Yelich. Great numbers in this ballpark. And very nice numbers against Hellickson. 6 for 13 in his career. And on a 7-game run, Yelich just under 400. Lets that changeup float low. 2-1. Yelich waits on the changeup, and it's off of Joseph's glove. Yelich to first. That probably can go either way.
Yeah, that's one of those in-between hops. Joseph tried to pick it. You see how the ball is rising, comes up about with knee-high, thigh-high when he's trying to get it. And that's that ball you can't make up enough ground on to go in and get it at the short hop.
And it goes as an E3. Pitches in to Stanton. Giancarlo has bounced out, popped out. As we documented early, Stanton has not had career success against Hellickson. Just 1 for 12, 5 strikeouts. He has homered. That one hit is a homer. He gets jammed again and pops it to Hernandez. It's a frustrating night for Stanton. And a 3-1 lead for the Phillies. Brought to you by La Lechonera. Yeah, there he is. Rocky Balboa. Now, he used to be in front of the Spectrum. Not anymore. He's in front of the Art Museum, the steps in which he famously jogged up and danced around. The same path, ironically, that our Allison Williams traveled when she played the role of Rocky Balboa a few years back in what was a Emmy-nominated feature. Galvis takes up. Count 2-0. Freddie Galvis singled and flied out. Pokes that one into the seats. And it's 2-1. Preston Wilson, what have you found to your liking in the city of Philadelphia these first 2 days?
I've enjoyed the food. Had a great steak at Del Frisco's.
Into left center field. Galvis with his second hit. And the Phillies have compiled 10 hits now at the expense of Wei-Yin Chen. Other than food, what has caught your fancy here?
Other than food, I would say well, there's food involved in this, but the Reading Market, where you go down there and they have everything you can think of. They have barbecue, they have cheesesteak, they got seafood, they got Cajun food. It's amazing. They got Amish food and gear. It's amazing. I always come back to food, don't I, Rich?
That's like, now remember, I prefaced that question with other than food.
Look, the market happened to have food there.
All right,
okay.
All right.
Well,
I got it. It's great weather to walk around Philly these last 2 days. That's for sure. This is a fun downtown. Now, Jessica Blaylock has been out and about. Jess, so what have you found here in the last 2 days?
Well, yesterday I had a chance to walk around Independence Hall. I went and saw the Liberty Bell. I took a tour of the Masonic Temple. So yesterday was kind of a history day, and then had a really good meal at the City Tavern as the Phillies get another hit on the night.
Yelich picks it up in the corner. Hernandez has his second hit. That's 11 hits against Chen. And the Phillies are set up with nobody out, runners at second and third. Miami's bullpen is in motion. I think the mystery of Wei-Yin Chen is this, as you watch that ball down the corner. For the Baltimore Orioles for 4 years, Chen made 117 starts in a small ballpark in the American League East, and his ERA was 3.72. Last year, he had an ERA for the Orioles of 3.34. Well, this year, including this start, his ERA is over at 5. Nick Whitgren, who's worked the first 2 games of the series, is up right now. Just 10 hits in the previous 3 games. Remember, they were 1 hit by Jacob deGrom on Sunday. And now 11 hits here.
Chen's just got to find a way to be more consistent down in the zone and out of the middle of the plate. I mean, it really comes down to that. You can talk about pitch selection. You can talk about whatever you want. It really comes down to getting the ball down in the zone and staying out of the middle. You can be down and in, you can be down and away.
Hellickson takes down. Couple hits, 26 at bats. And he's driven in 2. What you need here is a strikeout, get an out, and then go after Peter Borges. Leadoff hitter who's on deck. Got the second strike, and it's 2-2. Oh, for his last 24, Miami's infield is in with runners second and third. And Chen steps off. To first, Johnson cuts off the plate, tags out Hellickson, and the Phillies still second and third. Now there's one out. Saturday night, Marlins and Mets. Oh, you love him, you know him, you groove with him. Dontrelle Willis All-Star bobblehead, courtesy of Stanley Tools. As a special treat, you can dress up and join the fun. It's Star Trek night as well, but the Dontrelle bobblehead certainly. First 10,000 fans get a D-Train bobblehead this Saturday. Marlins and Mets, 7:10 start. And Dontrelle Willis will join us in the booth for a spell. Now a broadcaster with Fox Sports and FS1. This looks like the end of the line for Wei-Yin Chen. Kendall Toyota called to the pen. It's 3-1 Phils. Nick Whitgren comes in. Second and third and one out in the bottom of the sixth. Marlins bullpen last 10 games, and they'll need it here. Look at this. Major League rank on the right, the ERA, number of innings, opponent's batting average, strikeout to walk ratio, walks, innings pitched. 15 2/3 innings, and that'll be tested here tonight because the Marlins pen gets the baton in the bottom of the sixth inning with one out. Now the runs out there are responsible to the starter, Wei-Yin Chen, Nick Whitgren. Familiar to the Phillies, familiar to this mound. Wickren last night pitched a scoreless inning. Had a scoreless inning as well on Monday. Pitches up. And I would think for Wickren, if he can get these 2 outs, that'll be it for him. But they're 2 big outs trying to keep this game at 3-1 in the 6th. And stay close and try to get Hellickson out of the game. Infield's in, Borges in the air. OZUNA gets behind it, comes forward, has the catch. Runner comes, throw to the plate. It's a strong one, and he's in there. Well, OZUNA took a shot. Hernandez moves to third. The Phillies get their 4th run, and Borges delivers.
I mean, I understand OZUNA taking a shot, but that's a little too deep to think you're going to get a runner as speedy as Galvis. I would prefer him throw that ball to third base, keep that runner at second, because that throw you can make, I mean, that ball's pretty deep. And I know he's got a great arm, but that's just not, that's not the right move on that play.
It's a Wickren now with Tyler Goodell. Goodell 2-run homer, RBI single, and is bounced out. And a fastball in the inside corner. Phillies have done their damage on 11 hits. And Wickren out in front. Hellickson has thrown 79 pitches. So if he stays on track, he could probably pitch through the 8th if he continues to throw the way he's thrown. If you're the Marlins, you'd love to extract him from the game. Unless you're Chris Johnson.
Yeah, CJ's having a really good night.
Change up from Wickren. 1-2. Marlins have been impressed with this right-hander. His poise in high leverage spots. It's close. Just out. That's nice. Change up, came down, got the corner. Wickren gets a couple of outs. But a 4-1 lead for the Phillies now. with 11 hits. Citizens Bank Park. Buick, big matchup. Marlins versus Phillies. It's 4-4 now. The Fish and the Phils. They split 8, which means they have a ways to go in this season series. 19 times they're scheduled to play. The runs are even. The home runs tilted towards the Marlins. You see the ERAs as well. Fish have won the first 2 in extra innings in this series. But Jeremy Hellickson, coveted by a variety of teams shopping for starting pitching, has been outstanding here tonight. So teams that are watching certainly taking note. The Marlins have a front row seat on this 29-year-old right-hander. OZUNA, Dietrich, and Johnson. OZUNA fouls that off his foot. And it's 0-2. $20,654 attendance here tonight. Wei-Yin Chen's night, 5 1/3, 11 hits, 4 runs, 5 strikeouts. His ERA is just a tick under 5. It's 4.99. Change up. OZUNA thought he foul tipped it.
I thought he did too. He foul tipped that ball.
OZUNA felt he foul tipped it. Las Diaz said no. That's a sound thing. And here comes Don Mattingly. Slow motion first, then we'll listen. Well, look, if Ruiz misses it that badly.
I thought I heard a little click right before it hit the glove. Ruiz has been catching all night, and he's caught that changeup. I don't think Ruiz is going to miss a changeup.
He completely missed it. I mean, it bounced below his glove line.
And I think that's what Madeline was saying. You don't usually see the catcher miss the ball.
Look how far he missed it.
And you can hear that double click. It was really short. But I don't know. That's one where I think the umpires got to get together on that.
Right, but look, we looked at it in slow motion, and you see Ozuna's not happy. Here's Dietrich. And Dietrich hits a high pop into center. Well, in the course of 2 pitches, the Marlins inning now has 2 outs in it. Look, we looked at it in instant replay, slow motion. We listened to it. I don't know that anybody standing 120, 130 feet away down either baseline is going to be able to tell it. And truth be told, if you're Las Diaz, the home plate umpire, you're going on sound, not on a visual. And if you didn't hear it, I don't know what other recourse there is. Johnson takes in. Well, this is the matchup that's favored Miami. Johnson a line drive single and a line drive home run. Counts 2-0. Threw him a 2-0 changeup. Now it's 3-0. He was hunting fastball and he got one. But I'm with you when Ruiz misses the ball by that much. 3-1.
Got to admit, I was a little surprised at that 3-0 swing. Or a 2-0 swing. With the ball that he fouled down the line.
That was a 3-0 swing.
3-0 swing, yes.
That was a 3-2 swing. I think he was surprised at that changeup. And Hellickson has stifled Miami tonight. Phillies on top of the Marlins. Changes here for Don Mattingly. Danny Echeverria's into the ball game. He pushes Miguel Rojas from short to first. And Dustin McGowan is on the mound. This was a weigh-in Chen start, 5 1/3, 4 runs, 11 hits. Nick Wittgren got 2 outs. That finished off the 6th. And so McGowan takes over. Franco, Joseph, and Ruiz are waiting for him. Echeverria will be in the 9 spot in Miami's order. And McGowan now occupies the 7th spot. And McGowan misses down low. Dustin last appeared in St. Louis. That was his only appearance of the second half. That was on Saturday in the 5-0 win by the Cardinals. Speaking of which, the Cardinals have found the Padres to their liking. They walloped them in the first game, got rained out last night, and beat them 4-2. That was in the first game of a doubleheader today. And tonight, Padres and Cardinals are scoreless in the bottom of the 3rd. Nationals have opened up a 7-1 can of a lead over the Dodgers. Bottom 6. Echeverria right into the game. And right over to his buddy Rojas. And the Dodgers probably in a little bit of worry and shock with Clayton Kershaw going on the disabled list. And the talk that he might need surgery, which obviously would derail his 2016 season. The Rangers found out that Prince Fielder was diagnosed with another herniated disc in his neck. Tommy Joseph now. And Joseph takes a strike. In that West, both teams from Texas are at the top. Houston's on their way up, although they've dropped a couple coming into play today. Texas has really struggled lately. They're in Anaheim tonight. Houston shut out Oakland today 7-0. And McGowan comes out, throwing strikes, and gets out number 2. Let's check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess?
Hey, Rich, that's now 51 strikeouts on this road trip for Marlins pitchers. And striking out opponents is something that this staff has been able to do all season long. They rank 5th in Major League Baseball as far as strikeouts per game, averaging 8.66. That's right behind the Nationals, the Dodgers, the Cubs, and the Yankees. You guys mentioned this earlier. Wei-In Chin with 5 strikeouts on the night. Nick Wickren and Dustin McGowan have each added one of their own.
Thank you, Jessica. Carlos Ruiz now. Hard hit singles in the 1st and the 3rd. Chen struck him out in the 5th. Well, the addition of Fernando Rodney has deepened the bullpen. It's pushed guys like Phelps and Barraclough closer to the 5th inning. Nick Wickren's emergence has helped. Mike Dunn has looked sharper his last few times out. And now McGowan has the first 2 outs of the 7th. Count 3-1. My first Phillies game. Look at that. Look at her watching the Fanatic. See her face light up when she sees a Fanatic?
It's how most kids are, man. When I was a kid coming around to Veterans Stadium, I used to love the Fanatic. He was always the most entertaining to me.
What, not Greg Luzinski?
Nope.
Dietrich pops up, fires to first in time. McGowan a scoreless 7th, but the Marlins are down 4-1 going to the 8th. Marlins down here 4-1. Odubel Herrera's in center field, and Ichiro is in the box. Peter Borges over to right, and an Ichiro at bat in the 8th. Breaking ball misses down low. Pinch penny, pinch hitter. Ichiro's had a pinch hit appearance in both ball games. He hit a hard smash back to the mound in the 8th. 6 away from 3,000. That was last night. The night before, another comebacker and a walk. So 3 plate appearances, and the count's 2-0. Ichiro takes a rip, and it's 2-1. Jeremy Hellickson has been absolutely brilliant tonight for these Phillies. Shows Ichiro a wrinkle. Some real unsteady at bats against the change-ups. He's got 8 strikeouts, hasn't walked anybody. A lot of great articles in the last few days about Ichiro. We talked about the one in ESPN.com. Clark Spencer in the Herald had a nice one with a really cool story from his former manager in Seattle, Lou Piniella. Ichiro, that's foul. Piniella admits that when Ichiro got his first hit for the Mariners in Major League Baseball, Piniella, when he came back to the dugout, kissed him. And it kind of freaked Ichiro out. Ichiro said it was gross.
So what I sign up for here?
There's a 3-2. Ichiro, right center field. Borges is back, and he makes the catch on the track. Well, the Phillies had him played almost perfectly because Borges was in that gap to begin with. And Ichiro really stung this ball. See him in your picture?
Yeah, he's way over in the gap. It's great positioning.
Ichiro hitting in Rojas's spot. Here's Echeverria. Echeverria's first at bat.
It's amazing how the ball finds you. Echeverria comes into the game. He gets a ground ball right away. And then as soon as Borges switches over to right from center, he has the range near center to catch a ball.
Ouch. Right in on the hands. It's amazing that a guy that tops out at 91 has sawed so many hitters off tonight. La Lechonera gives you a sampling tonight of Jeremy Hellickson.
Oh, he's been good. Changeup was devastating early. Looks like a wiffle ball coming up there. Curveball, second time through the lineup. He started mixing that in. See that grip, see the rotation. Seven 2/3, 5 hits. The 1 run on the Chris Johnson home run. Back in the 4th.
Real Muto chasing the changeup. Phillies pen has had the night off up until now as action starts down there. Eddie Ramos. 0-2. To short. Galvis just in time. Jeremy Hellickson, 8 innings, a run on 5 hits. Phillies on top of the Marlins. It's been the Jeremy Hellickson show here tonight. Marlin fans, you can continue to watch Marlins games on the go on DirecTV and AT&T. Just download the all-new Fox Sports Go app. Take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball with you wherever you go. There's Don Kelly, and he's at first. Dustin McGowan into his second inning in relief. And with the switches that Pete McCannon made, Odubel Herrera is going to lead it off. Laz Diaz straps in. Here's Herrera, normally in the leadoff spot, but a night off until here. This was a Wei-Yin Chen start, 4 runs, 11 hits. He gave up 3 of those runs in the first 2 innings. Odubel sends Stanton back at the track, and he makes the catch. Tomorrow's starters: Tom Kohler, Jared Eickhoff. Eickhoff with a solid ERA of 3.76. It's a good walk to strikeout ratio. And Kohler looking to right the ship and get win number 7. Freddie Galvis. Two hits for Galvis. Phillies offense has come in the form of Tyler Goodell, who with the lefty on the mound got the start in left. 2-run homer, RBI single. Jenmar Gomez is up. Marlins have seen Gomez in each of the 2 games of the series. Miami got 2 runs against him on Monday when he blew a save, had a hit, and that was it in the 9th inning last night. That was the only inning he worked. You see his pitch load, 19 and 16. Good breaking ball. Tell you what, Everybody that's coming out of the bullpen these days looks great. Dustin McGowan looks sharp. He's retired all 5 he's faced. And if you want to count up his strikeouts, just download MLB at Bats on your phone, your tablet, your watch. Get the app now. MLB at Bats. The ability to scroll through and see what's going on in Major League Baseball up to the second stuff. You get StatCast on there too, so you can check out launch angles, exit speed, wind speed.
I'm still trying to figure out some of it. I see launch angle, but I don't know what a good launch angle is, Rich.
A good launch angle is one that goes out of the park. Cesar Hernandez with Andres Blanco on deck. I don't know that they've equipped MLB at Bat with Spider Cam yet.
Not yet. They're working on it.
Now, if you don't know what Spider Cam is, that great shot that we have from the top of the Comcast building.
If you can't see him, this is him right in there. See that? There he is.
An industrious and very stout spider spun a web on the tallest building in Philadelphia. You can see the wind buffering him around, and so far his spider web is held. He was with us from the start of the game, and I'll really be impressed if he's here tomorrow.
Hey, he might have moved in. I'm thinking there's not a whole lot to eat up there for him, though.
Yeah, that's a concern.
Yeah, I mean,
Andres, well, you know, all you need is a fly or two, and you're good.
Yeah, but that's some treacherous territory for a small insect to fly up that high.
Blanco pinch hitting. Hernandez now with 3 hits with that single, and he dives back to first. Mickey Morandini. Now that was one of the names that you really love to hear Harry Callis pronounce. Certain names that whenever Harry would pronounce it. There's Morandini. So Jeremy Hellickson is out. Looks like Genmar Gomez is getting ready for the 9th. Miami has Prado, Yelich, Stanton, Ozuna, Dietrich scheduled to go in the 9th. Runner goes, big jump, look out, bat goes flying into the seats. Ball ends up down at second. Safe is the call at second. Let's hope safe is the call in the seats.
That had some distance on it. That's a big time bat toss right there.
It looks like the youngster down there has the bat. Yikes. The youngster in the blue, though, got his hand in there late. And some nice gentleman let him have the bat. And a handful of pine tar. 1-2 pitch. Dustin McGowan working with 2 outs and a runner in scoring position.
So Blanco was using a pitcher's bat. Wasn't that Araujo bat he was using? I think it said Elvis Araujo. I think he was pitching here earlier in the season. I don't know if he's still in the bullpen. Let me check the roster real quick, Rich.
Runner goes, and a fly ball to left. Yelich to the track, and he reaches and makes the catch. 2 scoreless for Dustin McGowan. Last swings for Miami. 4-1 Phillies. Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Dodge, visit Dodge.com or your local dealer today. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. La Lechonera, Wednesday night showdown. Marlins find themselves down in the 9th. Monday night they were down 2 and got 2 against Genmar Gomez. You see Blanco stays in the game and he's at first. And there is Gomez. Last night, Gomez pitched in the 9th inning in a tie game. Marlins would end up getting a run in the 10th to win it. So tight ball games, but a 3-run cushion for the Phillies closer. Prado takes a strike. Yelich and Stanton will follow after 8 innings of Jeremy Hellickson. And he was dazzling. 8 innings, 5 hits, a run, no walks, 8 strikeouts. Prado to short. Galvis. And there's one out here in the 9th inning. Yelich, who is 1 for 3. Marlins have had a quiet night. Hellickson saw to that. Chris Johnson, 2 hits, a line drive single, and a line drive home run. Gomez throws strike 1 to Yelich, a hero last night. It was Gomez who was on the mound when Yelich had the RBI double that started the 9th inning comeback on Monday. It drove in the first run, and he scored the tying run on Ozuna's hit. But Gomez looked sharp tonight. Pitches in. Gomez tried to bring it back, catch the corner. Outfield playing Yelich towards left center. His double against Gomez was up that right center alley. Borges again is way off the line in right. Gomez posing, thought he had that inside corner. You see the Phillies alignment. Sprayed foul. We told you that the Mets lost to the Cubs, but the Nationals are beating the Dodgers 7-1, 8th inning in D.C. Other team to watch is St. Louis. They beat the Padres 4-2 in the first game. They're up in the second game. Bounce to third. Franco. 2 down. And now Stanton, and I'm sure that Stanton is happy that Hellickson has not left the building but left the mound. Bounced out and was jammed twice, and twice he popped to second. Busted bat, and in the air, left center field. Herrera makes the catch, and the Phillies get game 3 of this series. After 2 extra inning wins for Miami. Too much Jeremy Hellickson tonight for the Fish. And on the offensive side, our AT&T high-speed replay. Tyler Goodell, this homer to right, got things started in the first, and in the third, he knocked home the Phillies' 3rd run. Just like that, Hellickson had enough to work with, and he would go 8 innings and limit Miami to just a Chris Johnson solo homer. Gomez gets the save, Hellickson the win, Wei-Yin Chen the loss. Marlins Live is coming up from Philly. Phillies win it tonight 4-1.